Alright, today's video is called People Bury Things. It's kind of funny, but I'm interested by this subject all the time. It's pretty much weird to bury things, right? I try to tell people that I want to bury things all the time. Like, I used to say it all the time. I've never buried anything. But here's the coolest one that I like. There's this guy that homebrewed some honey wine mixed with prickly pears. It was Charlie Papazian. So this guy basically buries bottles of this wine that he made, this mead, in a high part in the mountains where it's cold all the time, so that the beer can basically re-ferment in the bottle at the correct temperature, not like some really hot, nasty temperature. And I thought the same thing, like, because I've fermented beer inside of water, like inside of swimming pools. I was thinking I could have like a whole brewery underneath the water at a lake. My burying ideas in homebrewing never happened. They still could. I would like to do what Charlie did and bury certain bottles in certain places so when you hike, you can go in and enjoy one of the bottles. But I don't really drink. It's just like one of those drunk romances. So let's go into a couple of other ones that are pretty weird. My friend Quinn, he buried maybe $10,000 or so in his backyard. He kind of had some stock market thing going, and when he cashed out, he liked to keep the money not at the bank. Like, he liked to put it in his box and bury it in the backyard, and he did it a lot of different times. And he's not the first. Like, a lot of different people do that. I would metal detect any house that I walked into if I was buying it, or if I was on an empty lot of a house, which I used to be on an empty lot of a house all the time. I could have metal detected it, found where people buried stuff, because people die, and every time you inherit a house, people didn't have a lot of different places where they could have buried something. They buried it like right there at their house in the backyard. So there's that one. Since there's so many people in the city, think, like, are they all going out to the mountains to go bury something? No, they're burying it at home, like where they live, so that no one could just come and metal detect it. There's a church. Okay, I was working for a digging company, and it's just general digging. Any kind of digging you're doing, I'll come around and tell you if the wires are there, so you don't dig into some wires. So my favorite one was this church. They wanted to burn stuff, like maybe like outdated material, like when they believed something else, but now they don't believe that anymore. So I don't know. And I tried to get them to tell me what they were burying. I said, what kind of digging are we doing here, guys? I don't want to tell you what we're burying here. I'm going to tell you where. And I said, okay, are you boring? Are you shooting a bore down? I start talking with all these like digging terms. And then finally they have to tell me, like, we're gonna bury like books and videotapes and other religious material that we can't burn. I guess in religion you just burn things. Uh, it's like, oh, okay. And now I know where that is. Like, I could always dig up whatever they wanted to burn. I thought that was weird that they wanted to burn something. Like, what? It must have been pretty good if they wanted to burn it, right? But once again, they buried it on their own church. I'm trying to teach you guys something. People bury things all the time. They might bury them on their own property.